So if you are not already sitting, go ahead and come to any comfortable seated posture, legs crossed or tucked behind you, just so you can sit tall. And I was just saying that we are honoring International Day of Yoga, which was actually yesterday, but I will declare that this is the International Week of Yoga, and for you guys, we do it all the time, so every day is Yoga Day. But so with that being said, I thought we would sort of honor yoga and do a more traditional vinyasa flow practice, focusing on sun salutations and some of the standing postures. I might just lead you through the Ashtanga fundamental standing series. So go ahead and take a nice seated posture, lengthening your spine, allowing your arms to just rest in your lap. So imagine that invisible string is drawing you up from your crown, from the crown chakra on the top of your head, which would not tilt your head back. That'd be like if the string was back there. If it was right on the top of your head, it would actually draw that chin in towards your chest, so you'd be nice and erect. And then rooted through your root chakra, which is right now connected to your mat, and that's grounding you to the earth. So you're both rooted to the earth, and yet you are being lengthened towards the sky. And roll your shoulders down and away, and pardon me, because I am very kind of snuffly and congested from all of the sand and dust in the air right now. I haven't been coughing, but just I sound a bit nasally, so apologies for that, and hopefully I won't start coughing. And if you're comfortable doing so, go ahead and just close your eyes, bringing your attention to your breath, watching your breath as you inhale through the nose, and exhale through the nose. Taking a moment to let the breath slow. And to deepen, we typically don't breathe very deeply through the day. It's actually why we will sometimes yawn if we're feeling tired, because our body wants that big inhale of oxygen, which a yawn achieves for us. So take a moment now to yawn if you need to, or just to take some really nice deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. It's always best to breathe in through the nose because of the filtration that happens in the nose. But as we were just saying right now, where some of us are, the air is really bad right now, so it's kind of even more important to try to breathe in through your nose if you can. And as you breathe, just become aware of your body. Become aware of your heart rate, how fast or slow it is. Noticing your state of mind, if you're perfectly calm and chilled, if you're feeling stressed about something, if you're emotional about something, happy or sad. Again, without ever judging it, just bringing your attention, bringing your awareness to it. And today, in honor of our International Yoga Day, if you'd like to set an intention for your practice, you may. I sometimes, especially now with everything, there's always lots of stuff going on in the world, but it just seems like, especially in the US, there's even more stuff than usual. So I do like to sort of think of the Buddhist loving kindness, and that we are sending love and compassion out. And equally, if we feel like we're in need of that love and compassion, we can inhale that and bring that into ourselves. Sometimes we don't have any love to give. Sometimes we're drained, we're depleted. Sometimes we need to take that from the universe, and other times we're able to give it back. So wherever you are right now, that's what keeps things in balance. Hi, Joanne, welcome. Just from right where you are, you can keep your eyes closed, allow your chin to tuck down towards your chest, stretching the back of your neck. And just allow your head to roll from side to side, just sort of lolling, as if it's just the weight of your head just brings it over to one side, over to the other. Ear towards shoulder. Feeling free to pause at either side. So if you get ear towards one shoulder and you want to stop there and give it a stretch, You certainly can. Maybe it feels better to keep it moving. You decide what your head and your neck need. And maybe tilting it up and down a few times without sort of crunching it backwards. Just think of tilting your chin gently towards the sky and then bringing it back down. Again, only if that feels good. Maybe you prefer to keep going side to side. And then maybe turning your head as if to say no really slowly over one ear and over the other, or over the shoulder rather. And over the other shoulder. And then working your head back to center, finding that neutral place. Take an inhale, extend the arms up overhead, rolling the shoulders down and back, and really almost exaggerating that drawing upwards I was just talking about. So it's like you're lifting yourself up, because of course you're not going to lift up, because gravity is more powerful than anything else right now. So just imagine growing tall, 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 and still being so rooted through your root. Take an inhale. As you exhale, bring your hands behind you and just maybe spider web your fingers back there and pull your shoulders back and open your chest towards the ceiling. Taking a breath as you expand your chest, really feeling how when you roll the shoulders back and you tilt your head up, you get that extra expansion of your ribs. Really filling your lungs. And then release that back to neutral, but trying to keep that same sense of fullness of our chest. Inhaling those arms up again. Let's just laterally tilt to the side. Towards either side. You can mirror me and go towards your left arm sliding out. But we'll do both, it doesn't matter. Reaching that arm over. So the arm reaching is always optional. If your shoulder's bothering you, it could just be down by your side. But if it's over your head, really stretch through. That's going to create a nice stretch through your side body. Keeping both hips grounded, so you're not leaning your body into this. You want your spine to be curving to the side. And press yourself up. Take an inhale again. Let's twist to that same side. So if you went left hand's going behind the body, right hand on the thigh, pressing into both, opening that left shoulder back behind you. Staying tall, so that same string is pulling you up by the crown of your head, so you're not slumping. You're not leaning back. You're nice and vertical. Again, taking a breath, noticing that air traveling into your lungs, noticing where it goes. And release back to center. Walk the hands forward. Let your head fold down. Let your back round and just release. Let the weight of your head pull it downwards. Noticing where you feel this. Is it your hips? Is it your back? Is it your neck? There's no right answer. Just notice where you feel the stretch. And then breathe into that area. And then go ahead and bring yourself up. And if your legs are crossed, switch the cross of your legs. So put the other one in front. Which might feel perfectly fine. It feels really weird for me. Take an inhale, stretch the arms up, and laterally bend to the other side. So if you went left, go right. If you went right, go left. Reaching the opposite arm overhead, and always let that arm on the floor be kind of soft. If you lock your elbow, what happens is it's very strong and your body won't bend. You have nowhere to go. So let the elbow be soft so that spine can curve over. We really want to imagine like a sapling sort of bending. We want that spine to make that C curve. So it's stretching. One of the many ways that the spine can stretch. And pressing yourself up. And then we'll twist to that side. So an inhale up, exhale to twist. Backhand if it's the right hand behind the back. Opposite hand on the thigh rather than on the knee. Taking a couple of breaths. Breathing into the ribs. Expanding the ribs, expanding the chest. Strengthening the lungs. Good, back to center, and just as we did before, walking those hands forward. Let the head drop, let the back round. Releasing into the stretch. And bringing yourself up and then extending those legs out in front of you and just giving them a shake in case they got cramped from sitting there for a few moments. Inhale up and exhale, forward fold into Paschimottanasana. And notice how this feels different than when your legs are crossed. Breathing into a different area. Notice what needs to be stretched here. Notice your hamstrings. Do they feel the same or do they feel different? All of this is always without judgment. It's just to start to get you to tune into your body. One of the great benefits of yoga becomes that sort of self-awareness of your body, which can make you kind of hyper-aware if something is off, which can be good because then you can address things when they're little rather than letting them get too big. When you're tuned into every sort of nuance of your body, your systems, what is normal and what is not for you. And then go ahead and roll yourself up. Spin those legs around, coming onto hands and knees. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Working through a couple of cow-cats. So already we've sort of moved our spine in all of the directions. Side to side, laterally. Twisting it, forward folding, and bending backwards ever so slightly here. Really gentle back bend in your cow posture. Good, coming to center. Extend opposite arm, opposite leg, doesn't matter which. Extending the arm out in front, pushing the leg behind. Flexing the foot, seeing how straight you can get that leg. Pulling up through the belly button. Trying to keep your spine relatively flat so you're not dipped into a cow right now. You've got that nice flat back. And then bend the knee of that leg that's extended and see if you can reach back with your hand and grab hold of your foot or your ankle, making a little bit of a bind. If you can't reach this, that's fine. You could reach the hand back towards it. Maybe you grab it, maybe you don't. If you do have it, then you can push up a little bit, just like we do when we're in dancer or Navasana, any of those postures. Kicking into the hand. Good, release that down. Reaching the hands forward, sit back on your heels into child's pose, letting the head reach the floor. Just for maybe 2 breaths. And then coming back up once again, finding neutral spine, hands under shoulders, and just extend the opposite leg, pushing it away. So when you extend that leg, you're really trying to get it at hip height. We're not trying to lift it way high up in the air. We want to keep our spine in line. And then reach that opposite arm out so you're in bird dog posture. Pressing the heel away, reaching the hand away. Pull the shoulder into its socket though. Sometimes we'll stretch out of our shoulders, so see if you can pull back while still stretching forward. I say things like that a lot, just like when you're sitting. You're growing taller and yet you're rooted. We do that a lot where we create sort of our own traction. So while you're actively reaching away, you're doing it with control. So you're still pulling that shoulder into its joint to keep it protected. The control is really important. And then bending the knee, grabbing the foot or the ankle if you can. If not, you could just stay with the leg bent. You could reach back or you could leave the hand reaching forward. Again, sort of pressing into the hand, kicking the leg up. Good, and release that down. Curl the toes under you this time as you reach the hands forward and come back and go into a puppy pose. So you're stretching your hands forward. Head finds the mat, maybe it doesn't reach the mat in puppy pose. And the hips stay more or less over the knees. And again, you're creating this traction from your fingertips pulling back against the mat, your hips pulling back, and that creates a stretch in your spine. Good. Come on up and come onto your forearms. We're going to come up into dolphin pose. So your forearms are parallel to the mat. The toes are curled under, and dolphin looks a lot like downward facing dog, except that you are on your forearms. It's sort of a precursor for both scorpion and also headstand, because you could actually come to here and put your head on the mat. We're not going to do a headstand from here right now. But notice what's going on in your back and your shoulders. This is very much a shoulder strengthening posture. Some of you might be able to do forearm stand. I cannot without the help of a wall. But you would come to this and then kick your leg up and your other leg up. So let your feet come a little bit back. We're going to go between this and a plank, and you usually need to have your feet just a little further back than walk so close to your elbows. So go ahead and flatten that out into a low plank, forearm plank, and then just keep your feet right where they are in forearm plank and press those hips back up. So you're not really quite in a dolphin. It's like a wide dolphin. Inhale, coming into plank. Exhale, pressing up into dolphin. Inhale to plank. Exhale to dolphin. One more time. Inhale to plank. Exhale up to dolphin. And then come back into your plank and see if you can transition from a forearm plank to a full plank. So you're up on your hands, belly button's pulling in, shoulders are still pulling into their sockets, chest is parallel to the floor, head, shoulders, hips, heels, all in one long line. And then press yourself back, finding downward facing dog. Really important in your down dog to roll those shoulders down and back. We have a tendency to want to stretch into a deep down dog, and so we'll press our chest towards our legs, and that puts a lot of pressure on our shoulders. So I'd rather you let your back do the work. Roll the shoulders down and back. Think about separating the shoulder blades, maybe even a micro bend in the elbows. Press the heels towards the mat. And now you have a more active downward facing dog that maybe isn't quite so acute as opposed to obtuse. Deep inhalation. Good, and then walk your feet towards the top of the mat, letting your head hang over. And maybe shaking it out, maybe nod your head yes. Shake your head no. Maybe bounce just gently, just loosening up, making sure everything is hanging. Nothing is lifting right now. And then bend the knees and roll yourself all the way up. Taking your inhale as you extend the arms up, little bit of a back bend, shoulders rolling again down away from the ears, and exhale. Coming to namaste, hands at heart center. Rolling the shoulders away from the ears, belly pulling in, gluteal muscles contracted. Good, so as promised, we'll just work through a few sun salutations, and I'll add some things here and there as we go. Inhale, extending up. As you exhale, flex forward. Inhale, sliding halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hands find the mat, right foot steps back, right hand stays planted. As you twist to the left, extending the left arm up, keep pushing through that right heel, extending the right leg long. Allow the hand to come down to the mat, step the left foot back, drop to knees, lower all the way down to the mat. And then extending your arms out in front of you, lifting up into a variation of locust. Feet on the mat, contracting the gluteal muscles. Stay lifted here and slide your hands back, pressing them right under the shoulders, and then press up to your cobra. So you lift up a little bit higher, shoulders stay down and back, elbows hugging the ribs. Releasing that, pressing up and back, finding downward facing dog. Extending the right leg up, we'll hinge forward 3 times, and then the 4th we'll step forward. So hinging forward, knee comes to chest, hovering out over the hands, and then kick that leg back up. 2nd time. Inhale, exhale to hinge forward. Inhale, exhale, plant the right foot down. You're once again in a long lunge. Once again, leave the right hand planted as you now open to the left, pivoting that left foot, and extending the left arm again. So a moment ago we had right hand down, left hand up, and a twist. Now we're more open. And letting the hand find the mat, stepping the left foot back. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, release. Inhale, coming all the way up, and we'll go right on to the second side. So as you exhale, releasing down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, release. This time, left foot steps back. Runner's lunge. Left hand stays in the mat. Twisting, looking up towards the right side, driving the left heel back, creating that stretch. And then right hand finds the mat, stepping the right foot back, dropping to knees, coming right into your cobra. Chest, chin, hips. Curling toes under, pushing back, downward facing dog, driving the heels towards the mat. On the inhale, left leg extends up. On the exhale, hinging forward, knee over hands, and extend the leg up behind you. Second time, inhale to extend. Exhale, hinge forward. And then on the fourth one, step that left foot down, pivot the right foot. Same thing where the left hand stays planted, right arm comes up, open the chest towards the side. Very much like a side angle bend, coming at it from a different angle. So if you feel like you can't do side angle bend with your hand on the floor, but you're doing this, look at that, you can. Place that right hand on the mat, stepping the right foot forward, forward fold. Inhale, coming all the way up. Exhale, coming into chair, Utkatasana. So sitting back in heels, as always with chair, if it's too much to have arms extended, they could come to heart center. What's most important is you press the hips back, knees over ankles. We're going to rock up onto the balls of our feet and back down. Rock up with control and back down. So can you keep your body in the same position as you simply come up on your toes and come back down? And can you find control and can you find balance in this? Next time you come up, see if you can hold the up position. See if you can sink the hips a little bit lower, but see if you can lift the chest a little bit higher. So your back is a little more vertical. And then forward fold as your heels come to the floor. Inhale, flat back lift. Exhale, release. Right foot steps back, right knee finds the mat. Rising up into your crescent lunge, arms extend up. Exhale, pulling into cactus and extending back up. And again, bending the arms to cactus and back up. And 3. And 2. Last one, hands find the mat, step the left foot back. Option to do full chaturanga this time. Elbows brush the ribs. You don't quite reach the mat as you transition to your up dog. You can of course come all the way down and do cobra. Pressing back, downward facing dog. Right leg extends up, this time right knee to elbow, right elbow 3 times. So right knee comes out to right elbow and kicks back up. And 2, and extend, and 3, and extend. This time stepping to the outside of our mat, coming to lizard lunge. So you can either keep hands on the floor, knee over ankle. You could put a block on the floor, something else to elevate, or if you can get forearms all the way to the floor, you can. You can drop your back knee if that's more comfortable. So your shoulder is pushing against that right leg, but your right foot stays planted. We don't really want to roll out because, again, we're creating traction. So your foot is connected to the mat, your leg is connected at your hip joint, and then we're creating that stretch in between by gently pressing our leg outward. And then from here, come back onto your hands, pivot that left foot, and come into that down dog lunge that we've done before. So your hands are reaching towards the left corner of your mat, past the left corner of your mat. Your feet are in like a warrior 2 type position, and your torso is in a down dog type position. Breathe into that. Good, walking those hands back. Keep the right foot on the far edge of the mat. Bring the hands to the inside of the mat and step the left foot out, coming down into a low squat. Pressing against the thighs, Sitting up nice and tall, hands to heart center. Just take a breath or two here. If the heels are off the mat, that's totally fine. If your butt is lifted a bit, that's totally fine too. Do what you can. Releasing out of this, coming into forward fold. Just heel toe the feet back to parallel. And then inhale into your chair again. Sitting back. Arms extended this time if you are able. Knees over ankles, press the hips back. We're going to come to standing with breath of fire as we draw our hands, our fists by our hips. So we're going to inhale and then exhale to stand through the mouth. Inhale, let it out. Inhale for 3 and 2. Last one, coming into Utkatasana and forward fold. Inhale, flat back lift. Exhale, hands find the mat, left foot steps back, releasing that left knee onto the mat. Inhale to rise up. Next time you exhale, draw the hands, the arms into cactus and extend. And 4, 3, 2, it's like you're pulling a lat bar down. You're creating some resistance there. After your last one, hands find the mat, right foot steps back, plank, chaturanga, or all the way to the mat, cobra, or up to your up dog. Pressing back, downward facing dog. Extending the left leg up, left knee to left elbow, hinging forward, and extend back up. And 2, and extend. The last time, and extend, and then place that foot outside the left hand. Coming down into form so you guys can see it a little bit better this time to see your lizard. So we want knee over ankle to start. If your foot is back here, just wiggle it forward. If you're on hands, that's fine. You'll just get a better stretch if you can come to forearms. But you could be forearms on a block up high. You could be forearms on a pillow. And again, if that back leg up is troublesome, just release it down. You'll notice it doesn't have much of an effect on your hip in the front. It's much more going to just affect what's going on in the back. And then press your left shoulder against your left inner thigh and see if you can get a stretch. Lizard is a terribly uncomfortable posture, so if you feel uncomfortable, that's fine. We have tight hips and this is awkward, so don't worry about it. Wherever you are in it is absolutely fine. Just see if you can take a couple breaths. And then walk that up, pivot the right foot onto the mat, and then walk the hands out into that lunging downward facing dog. Extending the spine. Walk the hands back. And just as before, step the right foot forward, coming into that deep yogi squat. Chest as tall as possible. So again, if you find you're more here, that's okay, that's fine. You can even sit on something. If you find you're here but your heels are up, that's fine. Do what you can, but it's a really good one to keep our knees healthy. If you do this now, we are all young. There's no reason why you shan't be able to do this when you're in your 80s. It's one of the little ladies, they're chopping vegetables from this position with their skirts over their knees. All right, release the hands and straighten yourself up. Heel toe your feet back together. Say you're in forward fold. Hang out in forward fold for a moment. And then bend the knees and roll yourself all the way up. Take a deep inhale as you extend those arms up overhead. And exhale. Bring the hands to heart center this time. So inhale to extend up. Exhale, release forward. Inhale, flat back lift. Exhale, release. Hands find the mat. So either step right foot back followed by left or hop back to plank and then work through your chaturanga to your up dog to your down dog. Give you a break here. We'll come to pigeon. So extending the right leg up. First the 3 hinges forward. So right knee comes to right elbow and extend. Cross the body and extend. Last time. This time coming forward, placing that right leg on the mat, extending the left leg behind you. Staying lifted so you're not sitting down on right hip, scooshing that left leg back as much as you can, and let's stay lifted. Shoulders down and back. If you really, really want to fold forward, I'm not stopping you. But otherwise, chest tall and proud. See if you can get that nice deep hip stretch while opening the chest, and there's even a little bit of a back bend here. We're not going to stay here forever, so if you want to go forward, you can, but otherwise stay here because we're just going to stay here for another breath or two. Option if you want to work on that royal pigeon. So beginning by bending that back leg. Maybe you can reach your hand back and keep your other hand in the mat for balance, that's fine. If you can bring it closer, you could stay there. And if you want, you can start releasing and see if you can grab the toe. I cannot. I grab the hand. Good, releasing that down. Press yourself up, coming to plank. We'll do some intermission push-ups here. So you can stay on your toes. You could drop to your knees. You can keep your hands narrow. It's harder with hands narrow, or you can go ahead and widen your hands and give yourself a wider base, which makes your life a little bit easier. And you can do anywhere from 0 to 10 push-ups here. So bending the elbows, not coming past 90 degrees, so your chest won't hit the floor, and press back up. I'm going to go for 10. You do however many you can do. 8, you're exhaling on the way up. 7. If you're doing them with your toes on the floor, make sure you're not arching your back and dropping your hips. 5. 4. Definitely do this from knees. It's better to do more from knees than not do any. And I think that's 10. And walk those hands back. And see if you have a chaturanga in you. Whoa, rising up to up dog. How those shoulders and arms feel. Pressing back to down dog. Take a breath. Palms in the mat. Extending the left leg up. Bending the left knee, coming to right elbow, crossing the body. And extend. And 2. And extend. Last one. And extend. And then bringing that foot across, coming to pigeon on this side. So right leg extends back. So we try to keep our hips square to the front. We try not to sit so that we're kind of twisting and opening up. And in the full version of this foot is actually here, out in front, like parallel to your body, perpendicular to that knee. My knees and hips don't work that way. But the idea is that if this foot is way under your body, you're just slowly, slowly working it out here. Maybe one day you'll get there. Maybe one day you won't. That's okay too. Just because we're going towards the final expression of a posture doesn't mean we ever get there. That's not the point. The point is that work towards it. It's the impulse. It's the energy bringing us there. It's asking our body to do something. And maybe one day it will. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. And then if you want, bending that back knee, and again, just this is going to give you a nice stretch. So you can certainly stay there. If you have a strap and you want to put a strap here and hold onto the strap, that's another way to work into this. The balance is a huge part of it. If this foot is further out here, you're going to be able to balance much more easily than if your foot is tucked under your body. I fell over lots of times in working on this. Wherever you are, take a breath. See if you can find stillness for a moment. And then release that. Press up into plank. I won't make you do push-ups. Come to your chaturanga. Up to cobra, up dog, and then take a break, pressing back into down dog. Give yourself a rest. If your shoulders are sore and extended out in front of you doesn't feel good, you can always bring your arms down by your side. You could also have your knees together or apart. They do different things, so you see what feels good and what you need in your body. Good, and then reaching those hands back out in front of you. Curl the toes under, push yourself back to your downward facing dog. And then let's walk the hands back to the feet. So you're at the back of your mat in a forward fold. And then go ahead and roll yourself up. So in an Ashtanga practice, which is what my 300 hour was in, you do 6 sun salutations without all the accoutrements that I add to them. And then you do the Ashtanga Fundamentals series. So you typically don't necessarily start this from the back of the mat, but I want to add some balancing elements into our Ashtanga Fundamentals. And the Ashtanga Fundamentals is a very efficient way of getting through a number of standing postures. So from here, so as always, your hands, you can do whatever you want. I like them at heart center because it's kind of a nice, safe place for them. But as you're balancing and moving, if you feel like you need hands on hips, if you need to hold on to something, you decide. I'm not worried about what the hands are doing. Let's go ahead and balance on our right foot as we lift our left leg up. Just to hip height. See if you can find stillness for a moment there. So we're going to take this out to a lunge. We've done this before. So extend the leg. See if you can find balance and stillness with this leg extended. I noticed I was really leaning back. See if you can stay upright as you do that. And then see if you can step that foot far out in front of you with some level of control, coming to high lunge. Pressing back through that back foot. Good, extend the arms upwards if they're not already. And then open the chest towards the sky. Good, bring the hands to the heart. We're going to transition to warrior 2. So you're going to pivot your back foot, the left knee is over ankle, and you're going to open your torso and then go ahead and re-extend those arms. You can go as deep as you want in this leg as long as you've got enough space so you're not tracking out over toes. Find that focal point in front of you. Pull the shoulder blades down and away from the ears and pull them towards one another. Belly in, pelvis under. Notice if you're sticking your bottom out behind you. Good, press that up. We're going to transition right to the other side. So the right foot points away, the left foot comes in. We lower into our warrior 2 on this side. So that thigh could be as low as parallel to the floor, but it can be higher if you prefer. Gazing out over the right hand. Pressing into the pinky edge of that back foot. Good, and rising up, turning the toes parallel, forward fold. Let the head release down. And just hang this time. Bend the knees, roll yourself all the way up. Inhale, arms extend, open the chest towards the sky. Exhale, bring your hands to heart. We're going to step to the front of your mat. So you're going to pivot that front foot and you're going to come up to the front. Good job. All right, we're going to balance on the very same foot. So right foot balancing, left foot's coming up. Find balance and stillness there. Press that left foot behind you. Coming to a warrior 3, see if you can bring your chest parallel to the floor. And then when you're ready, step that foot back, finding lunge on this side. Again, nice deep bend, chest is lifted, heel is lifted. Once you're stable, extend the arms, open the chest towards the sky. Good, bringing hands to heart, chest lifted. Warrior 2 on this side. Extending the arms, deep bend in the knee, pressing into that pinky edge of the back foot, shoulders coming down and together. And then we'll take this to side angle bend. So, Side ankle bend, what we want is this nice deep bend in the front knee, and you want your chest really open. So your arm can come across the thigh, and that opposite arm can shoot up or reach over. If you want to take this deeper, you could put your hand on a block, you could put your hand on a book, or you could find the floor. But what we don't want is this kind of shape, falling and leaning into this. Really open the chest so you can gaze up towards the ceiling. Look at that extended arm. It's like you're pressed between two panes of glass. Pausing and breathing. Pressing up to your warrior two. Straightening that leg, pivoting, transitioning to the other side. Bending the knee, pressing into that back foot. Shoulders down and back. Side angle bend. So again, you can come to the thigh. That hand could even just be on the hip. Really think of opening the chest. My back is to you, but it actually helps you to be able to see kind of the shape of my back. I'm not twisting or rounding. It's nice and flat. And then if that hand wants to come down, that chest and back don't really change. That arm can shoot up or shoot over. The deeper the bend in the knee, the easier this is going to be. And if you are down, we're trying to support ourselves and lift and not collapse into it. Breathing into this. And then pressing yourself back up. Pivoting towards whatever end of the mat this is. I think it was the back end of our mat. And step that foot all the way forward. And now we're just going to turn around. So we're back at the back of our mat. If you're not, get thee to the back of your mat. And we're going to come to the other side. So we're going to balance on the left foot. We're going to lift our right leg up. It's one of those moments where I say heavy loose plan, but I haven't necessarily worked it out to the end. And we're going to extend that right leg. Again, see if you can stay lifted. It's really easy to lean back in this. Can we stay lifted? We're going to step into warrior one. So the right foot steps down. Pivot the back foot. Bring the hips forward. Hands to heart center, or if you'd like, go ahead and raise them. Now my warrior one is not super deep because of the shape of my hips. I'm really working to bring my hips forward, and that means I can't have as much of a bend in my knee. You might have a really deep bend in your knee. See if you can pull the hips forward. Good, we're going to transition this to triangle. So you're going to straighten the leg. Both legs are straight. We're going to hinge forward with that right hand. We're going to let that hand come down towards the earth, and then the opposite arm extend up. Here too, if we put our hand on our shin, we'll tend to put pressure on our knee. And if you reach the floor, for most of us, we end up out of alignment. We kind of torque our spine. So you want to find a long spine. So for me, that's about here, where my spine is long, my head is in line with the tailbone, opposite arm extending. Press that up, reverse the triangle, letting that hand float behind the back. Opposite arm lift up. Good, press yourself up, pivot over to the other side. So both legs are straight. Reaching, 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 reaching forward. Letting that hand float down, bringing the opposite arm up. Pull these ribs in towards the body. What happens is those ribs round and stick out. See if you can pull the ribs in, lengthen through the spine, pull the belly button in. And then press yourself up, turn your toes parallel, forward fold, and grab hold of your ankles as you pull yourself down. And then bring yourself up, pivot towards this end of the mat, and then step that back foot forward. Balancing again on the left foot, bringing the right knee up, parallel to the hip, pressing that back leg behind us, hinging forward, finding warrior 3. And then stepping that foot down, finding warrior 1. Chest is lifted. All right, we're going to take this into a lunge twist. So the first thing to do is lift that heel up, square the hips, sink a little bit lower so you're in a lunge. And now you're going to bring this right elbow to the left knee, or for some reason you've got your right foot forward, it's just your opposite elbow. We're going to bring it across the knee, lock it against that knee, and then twist, looking up towards the left shoulder. Keeping hands at heart. Press through that back heel, trying to keep knee over ankle here in the front, and then looking up towards the sky. If you get wobbly, bring that hand to the floor. If you want, you could extend that opposite arm up. Releasing that, pressing yourself back up, pivoting right over to the other side, coming to your lunge on this side. Nice deep lunge, pressing back through the heel. And then bringing the left elbow against the right thigh, turning and looking towards the right, hands at heart center. The hands like to walk up here to the armpit. See if you can invite them to the center. Turning the gaze towards the ceiling. Good, rotating that, press yourself up. Once again, turning feet parallel, forward fold. This time take the hands to the floor, separate your feet as wide as you're able, and walk your hands back behind you. So you point your fingertips away from you and draw your head towards the mat. Let the head go, let it be heavy. And then release that, heel toe your feet together. And come down to a sit. And then bring those legs right back out. So you're sitting nice and tall, legs extended, toes towards the ceiling. Laterally bent to whatever side you would like. I like to bring the arm across the body. The inside arm could also be here by your leg. Just do whatever you want with that arm. And then laterally bend towards that leg, reaching towards the toes, which you may or may not grab. And then lifting up a bit to rotate, and then angling your chest down towards that leg. Bringing the opposite hand across gets you a nice kind of stretch through your side body. Letting your head release down. Okay, so that was definitely my take on the Ashtanga fundamentals. I went a little bit off script on that one, but the idea is you kind of go from one side to the other. You go through a bunch of the standing postures. We didn't do all of them. Typically, you also do vinyasas between each one, and I decided we had done enough vinyasas at our warm-up, so I didn't do that. So it was a variation on Ashtanga. And press yourself up, and we'll go right to the other side, so get a moment to center yourself, and then go ahead and laterally bend first, so bring that arm wherever it needs to go to get out of your way. Again, maybe you like it over here on the same side, that's fine. Reach the opposite arm across. I just like to get it there because it gets out of the way, and I can grab my toe. So again, make sure you're bending sideways. Your flexibility might have you here, which is fine. But what we want is for the chest to be open towards the front and we're bending sideways. If you want that arm there to support you, maybe that works better. Don't worry about going deeper. Worry more about the shape of the spine. And then again, lift up a little bit so you can pivot, rotate your body this way, and then go ahead and release down over that extended leg. And walk yourself back up. And then hinging forward. So stay nice and tall. We're hinging from the hips, spine is staying long. We're not rounding our spine. So for a lot of us, flexibility just brings us to kind of here. which is fine. If you have more flexibility, you can walk those hands out further, you can. The idea is that if anything hit the mat, it would be your belly button or your belly, not your head. Top of the head would never touch the mat. If you're real flexible, you get down, 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 and eventually, I can't do it, but eventually your chin comes to the mat, not the top of your head. And then walk yourself up. Bring those legs together. I'm going to turn back so I'm on my mat properly again. Go ahead and let's just hinge backwards like we're coming to Navasana, belly in, and then go ahead and come to Navasana. You can come to Ardha Navasana with your legs up and bent, or you can extend those legs all the way. We're not going to do anything fancy today. No Pilates abs, just going to hold Navasana for a moment. It's one of the reasons I like to incorporate Pilates into yoga, because there's not a lot of ab-focused stuff in yoga. We use our abs in triangle and lots of things, but we don't specifically target them. But Navasana does. Place the feet on the floor, lower yourself all the way down. Hug your knees to your chest. Okay, so we're going to do an inversion. I love to end class with an inversion. So, options. Lowest option, pregnancy, often menstruation, high or low blood pressure that is not controlled, recent eye surgeries are all reasons you should do a lower version of an inversion, or you just don't feel like doing an inversion. So you would lift your hips up, and if I don't have a block because they're holding up the camera, but you could put a block here under you, and it could be at the low level, the medium level, or the high level to support your hips. There's your option one. Option two, the block goes right here across your low back, or a pillow or something like that, or a ball, and then the legs come straight up. Equally, you could do this against a wall. So you can move yourself over to a wall, legs up the wall, very nice, gentle inversion. Those of you who want to work with something more intense, you can bring those legs, overhead into plow. They may or may not hit the floor. Mine have crashed into my meditation table. And your hands can support you, or they can stay on the floor. If you want, you can come up into shoulder stand. And if any of you have headstand in your practice and you want to come into headstand, you can do that. I'm just already here, so I'm not going to demonstrate headstand. You could do headstand against the wall, totally fine. But just get something where your heart is higher than your head. And in the more intense ones, obviously, your feet are actually up in the air, where in the less intense ones, your feet are still more or less in line. Those of you with legs lifted, whether you've got them on a block or if you are in shoulder stand, you can play if you want. You can keep them right where they are, or you could open them up. You could work with one leg forward and one leg back, like flying splits. You could move between shoulder stand and plow, working on your abdominal strength. If this bothers your neck, either plow or shoulder stand, stay out of it. It is contraindicated for neck problems. I have neck problems and I love shoulder stand. So it doesn't, you might have neck problems that this doesn't bother you. So just work with your own body. But if it's making you dizzy, if you don't like it in any way, make sure you find one that works for you. Okay, so we're all going to counterpose this the same way. So if you are in shoulder stand, go ahead and join everybody who's in plow and lower yourself down to plow. And then those of you who have blocks under you, go ahead and lift your hips up and slide the block out from under you. And then everybody roll down and hug your knees to your chest. So we'll all do fish, which is the counter pose for plow and for shoulder stand. So you're going to extend your legs below you, and you're going to bring your hands under your body, reaching your fingertips towards your heels, rolling your shoulders under you. You could stay right here. If you want to take this up to fish, you bring your forearms onto the mat and your head drops down so your chest opens. What you don't want is for your head to be dangling in space. If it doesn't hit the mat, slide something under it, a block, a pillow, or something, so it finds the mat. Pull the shoulders back, open the chest, and this is opening your throat and opening your thyroid. If we were being super scientific, which obviously you guys know I am not, we would do this for half the length of time that you inverted. So if you invert for 2 minutes, you would stay here for a minute. I don't think we are inverted for quite 2 minutes. But just take a couple breaths here, expanding the chest. And again, the lower version would just be right here. You're still pulling the shoulders back. You're still opening the throat. You're just not lifted as high. If you want a more advanced version, the hands come out. They could come up, pressing together in prayer. You could lift the legs up. I've actually seen this with heels on the mat and head on the mat and hips lifted. That's one of those things. I don't know how mortal to do that. Wherever you are, go ahead and release out of this. Draw your knees into your chest. Hug yourself into a little ball. And just rock from side to side. And then transition that to a happy baby. And hold your happy baby for a moment. And then bring the soles of your feet together and lower the soles of your feet, or your feet rather, onto the mat. So you're in a supine butterfly. Soles of the feet together, hips are pressing open. Place one hand on the heart, one hand on the abdomen. Close the eyes, let the shoulders release. Chin towards chest, let the elbows drop towards the sides. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Open your mouth, stick out your tongue, lion's breath. And again, inhale. Last time. And then just relax for a moment here in this position. Letting your breath become natural. Feeling your heart rate under your hand. Feeling your abdomen rise and fall. It's completely up to you what position you take for your final relaxation. You can stay right here. This is a perfectly valid relaxation position. You can keep your legs in butterfly and let your arms come down to your sides, or you can come out to Savasana, extending your legs. You decide what you need right now, and then just let yourself release and relax into that final resting posture. And then bring some awareness back to your body. Wiggling fingers and toes. Breathing deeply, imagining that breath traveling all the way down to your fingers, all the way down to your toes, and all the way out the top of your head. And as you let it go, letting go of any lingering stress, tension. Inhaling that positive energy coming from the universe. Exhaling and letting go of anything that isn't serving you. Self-judgment, judgment of others, anger, stress. See if you can let go and just give it back. Let it just dissipate into the air. You don't need it. It doesn't help you. Just let it go. And once it's gone, you've created that space, you can inhale and fill up that space with what does serve you. Love, positivity, joy, hope. Then draw your knees towards your chest and roll over to either side. And when you're ready, bring yourself to a seated position. Ending as we begin. Spine tall and lifted. Hands just resting in your lap. And taking a moment to notice, just as we did at the beginning, your breath, your body. I was going to read something longer to you, but I have taken you over time, so I'm going to read a very, very short 2 sentences that you can ponder as you sit there. But at the beginning of class, I was saying that today I had a couple of practical exercises in non-attachment and just letting go sometimes of expectations. Sometimes we need to let go of physical things. Sometimes we need to let go of things in our past. Maybe they're positive, maybe they're negative. And I was just reading another book today by Mark Nepo. This one's called Facing the Lion, Being the Lion, and I'm only a little bit in, but these 2 sentences sort of spoke to me today. The things that matter most can be touched, but not forced to linger. For trying to hold on to our pain or our joy is like trying to hold a wave, even as it douses you. Take an inhale as you extend your arms upwards, pressing your palms together overhead, and then draw your hands to your heart, thumbs to heart center. Om Shanti Om. Thank you all of you for sharing our International Day of Yoga practice with me. Namaste.